Let's talk about politics now. We can never stop talking about politics. Yeah. And with me in studio, I have Daniel Orogo here, who is a political analyst, joining me in studio. And I have got Hamisi Mboga, who is also going to join me via Zoom. Let's talk about politics now. And the show currently on is Eye on Politics. Let's talk about what has happened in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, or even 72 hours, or even last week. We have to talk about it. Let's talk about that. Let's get talking. And you can reach me on @Victolo, that is on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, or on Twitter, and send in your request, comments, or even your feedback, and then we'll be sampling them during this particular show. Daniel, karibu sana.
Good morning.
It's a cold morning. Everybody's talking about July cold. First of all, which team are you supporting, England or Italy?
I have been a fan for Italy for a long time, and I think the display they had ever since the tournament began, draw my attention to be one of their fans. I mean, there is no doubt about that. Because I said that yesterday before way back at 7 p.m. Italians were going to carry the day after a long spell without
without the silverware. Somebody saying that it's football made in Italy.
Well, it depends from whether side you're making that statement, but I think it's an opportunity for all the teams, because much more is just a stage opener for the World Cup, and I think all the nations that plays in UEFA Euro are actually testing their capacity to play in the World Cup next year. In either way, I think all the teams that represented and participated in the Euros,
they're making a statement.
Really needs to go back and look at where they need to strengthen as they prepare for the big
match. And of course, it's a big of a problem to Italy now that people are going for World Cup and they lifted that silverware. So it will be hard not to crack for them. It's a good team to watch.
But it's also a very, very, very good weekend, because we, after some years, we saw a breakthrough through the space exploration. Sir Richard Branson and the whole Virgin Galactic team.
Exactly.
Yesterday made a breakthrough. And I think it's very important that this generation needs to appreciate the ease at which they see these inventions as they were happening in 1960s and 19th century. You remember Neil Armstrong,
and it's a completely changed.
I went and plunged the US flag, and yesterday the British also went and explored the same space. I hear Jeff Bezos is also working on going to the space, and the rest. So I think it's important that the young generations that are watching this quite inspiration that is going on, especially making statement that inventions is the way to go, that when you believe you could actually achieve your dream.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to a nation when Kenyans would also begin the space exploration, and begin also our astronauts begin to work on research that would make us also make such kind of exploit.
That's an inspiration there to the entire nation, because exploring the space, as you all know, it needs some time. All right, so let's get into the discussion today. A lot happened over the weekend, and now we are in a new week, and we expect even a lot more to happen, because even as we head towards that election that is next year, we expect so much to happen, and we'll continue talking about politics each and every day to shape the political landscape of this nation, because the moment we stop talking, I don't think we'll always get it right. Okay, so when you look at this page, maybe you can read it. Let's talk about that headline on the Star.
It reads, Musalia plays hard to get in Uhuru's unity bid. And I think there's a sub that Kalonzo's relationship with Raila is towing, and there's a possibility of a deal to face William Ruto.
Where do you make of that headline?
I think, like we said on in the last set, we had predicted this in substance.
Yes,
and we say that as all the political players are having discussions and jostling for preparation in 2022.
This particular headline we discussed here.
Yes, we discussed it here, I think 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
And then we say that as you look at the discussions right now, all the bigwigs, and I remember what we said, that everybody must come into a table with a strong and a big bargaining chip.
Exactly.
And like we say, that each and every political player is going to play hard to get. Not really that they will not be gotten, but because they don't want to go to a negotiating table with a small deal.
Yeah.
And I think this is what is happening to Musalia. Remember, Musalia is a victim of circumstances. In 2013, what happened?
Yeah.
When the discussion was going on and he was, touted as a popular candidate by Jubilee Alliance at that time. He also he remember the case about Madimoni. I think you remember that.
Exactly.
That is the time.
Exactly.
The Musalia was 90% going to be the flag bearer of Jubilee Alliance in 2013 to run against court, and something happened overnight.
Yeah.
And he was betrayed, and he went it alone. So I think Musalia is playing a political game that is politics, and I like his philosophy because, like I said, being a victim of circumstances, and he's not only betrayed once. I mean, he's been within these political processes for a long time. Joined politics was relatively young, and understands the political horse trading. So for this one, I think I am agreeing to his suggestion that before he agrees to join any political outfit, it would be important for him to explore all the options. It would be important for him to advance that negotiation table with a deal that would secure him, and his followers, some goodies in the political pact. Remember again, each and every political party, when the stalwarts are having a discussion about their possibility to get into the deal, all their political followers, including their backyard, must also be roped in the discussion. And this is something that always makes discussions very hard, because you can have these principles on the room to agree, but once they go outside, all their followers, all their dogs would want them to play hard. So I think this is important, but it would be very impossible for Musalia to have a ticket with UDA. It's likely possible that they would have a deal with the handshake political outfit.
Is it the best bet?
It is, because I think looking at the instances, like I said before, and of course there is an active case in the Court of Appeal that is pending ruling on August. But if you look at the discussion that is going on in the handshake, and President Uhuru Kenyatta is being purported to be reaching out, to prevailing all the leaders to have a strong political outfit to face the deputy president. And I think it's in the public domain that he's, the leader, the Jubilee Party leader, is warning and throwing a caution on the air that if you do not put your NASA house in order, or if you don't want to call it NASA, but your unity is very critical, because if you do not unite, then that becomes a weakest point for UDA or any other outfit that might come. Your unity is very strong. And I said here, Victor, again, and it's good these guys are always listening to us, that there is no political formation that is going to have a one win in 2022. In the crafting of political alliance, each and every political is looking for outfit. Do not despite that small vote or that fragmented political factions that you think might be small, right? Because it might go for a runoff. And a runoff, remember, is just plus 1% of the vote. And that is very critical for each and every player.
Let me bring in Hamisi Mboga here briefly. Just let's talk about that. Hamisi, good morning and welcome to the program. First of all, we are talking about the Musalia Mudavadi's, saying he's trying to, according to the Star newspaper, Musalia Mudavadi playing hard to get in Uhuru unity bid. What is your take on that, Hamisi?
First, thank you very much for inviting me, and good morning to all of you. I think it's very good to be able to have this discuss, because it's time now the political arena is open, and therefore we discuss, we give opinions. If you ask me, I think he's playing two. In politics, you need first perception, and then you need strategy, and then you need a very quick action, because if you're later bid, you may find that the chair that you wanted to see somebody else has sat. But I think Mheshimiwa Mudavadi is playing a very, very good strategy. He's not saying he's not joining now in his body language, but he wants, maybe in every discussion, you need to know, if you're going, what will happen? What are my stakes? I think he's playing that ball so that he's given a way of knowing, when I'm there, it will not be like the other time. He has had other times, and we know those other times. So he wants to make sure. And maybe his followers also ask him, don't give in until you know what is your stake in that pie. And therefore, he's playing that one. But I think the only way out, the way I see it, is we have a strong either cooperation or working relationship of these teams. Because if they go it alone, as everybody is saying, William has started long time ago, he'll take the boat. So if you want to compete with that boat of William, you need to have a very strong boat and strong people pushing the boat. So I think he's coming, and I think there are some negotiations, but I suggest if he had some people on the table discussing for him, because you can see the other big people, while Mheshimiwa Uhuru is moving on to consolidate the other NASA people, his team is working, his team is strategizing. So we also need, if I was advising Mheshimiwa MM, we should send people there to go and observe, because he's not chased. We can say, okay, we have come here so that you know what is happening inside. But I think these two teams are going to be quite critical in our political arena. If you take Mudavadi, if you take Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, Mheshimiwa Baba, and they form a formidable team, then maybe William can pick another one or two other parties. Then we have two strong parties fighting for this leadership. It would be arena like England and Italy.
Exactly. Talk about England and Italy. So let me ask you, before I let you go briefly, Hamisi. Then we've had some MPs from Western. Most vocal one is Ayub Savula, who says that Deputy President William Ruto will beat Raila Odinga only if but that will not happen if they front Musalia Mudavadi as the competitor to William Ruto. How would you buy that statement?
What it is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Politics is convincing and putting a scenario and selling that scenario, because what I hear from him is the scenario, but what are the facts? Are you talking about numbers? Because elections are about numbers. Elections are about mobilizing people to be able to be on your side. If you say that we front Mudavadi, who is going to mobilize those other people? So you need to go beyond that statement for us to believe actually that will happen. What about if they all also mobilize to support ODM leader or any other leader that that group will appoint? So this is very early stage, because we have almost a year. Let them strategize. And also, you see, in my language, where I come from, there are people who beat the drums for you. If you want to pick a debe for your candidate, you have to sell some language. And I think Savula is trying to do that. Because what is interesting is there are people who are so quiet in ODM. Okay? Not everybody is saying this or saying that. What is their strategy? What are they cooking in terms of African language? So there are things that are being cooked, and I think the time that the food is ready, we shall see the direction. But I see Mheshimiwa Musalia joining Kalonzo and Raila team backed by the president. But I can also see the strength of William Ruto and his team. The gentleman is on the ground. Right now, if you move around, you go to other places, you hear the name is being mentioned. So don't underestimate that one also. And for those other people to compete, they have to do the same. like what they have said, I think Kanu is mobilizing grassroots elections and also people joining the party. I can see ODM is saying we shall go on. That is the way, so that you can gauge your strength. But I think 2023 is going to give us a good platform for watching football.
Okay. Daniel, there is a point that Hamisi has raised, that while ANC is quite vocal in the whole of this political circus, ODM is completely quiet. We are not hearing any ODM legislator talking about the 2022. Everybody is quiet. What would you take on this? Is it a strategy?
Well, I think like Hamisi has just mentioned, I think behind the success in politics lies the strategy. And I think I don't like quoting 48 laws of power because I think it's outdated, but the law
I think it's still relevant in our politics. It is.
Yeah, you conceal your intentions.
Yes,
I think that should be one of the laws in that book. One, I think I'm really sure that ODM is working on restructuring the party, and one of the things I can confirm to you that the party is planning for a grassroots party elections. Secondly, I think the party is on the rebranding and making sure that minus the expected endorsement, the party really wants to test also its own strength. Like I told you, every party would want to go to a negotiating table with critical in terms of able to marshal resources and numbers, because that is also what counts. There is also a fact that, remember, besides being quiet, the party secretary general, Edwin Sifuna had said that he is authorized and beginning to have a pre-coalition agreement with Jubilee Party.
Yes.
And I think that is what is important for the party, that there is consultation on how to have a win-win agreement between Orange Democratic Movement and Jubilee Party, and subsequently other political parties. For me, I think the quietness is sponsored by a lot of strategy, a lot of consultations, and just a lot of party consultations and rebranding of the party. There had been a number of responses from members of parliament. You just recently, when Dr. William Ruto made some statement about Honorable Raila Odinga, I think you saw some members of parliament coming and defending the party leader about corruption allegations, and about endorsement and all these things. But also, we also forget, and coming back to the big topic, I think Musalia, like I told you, being a victim of circumstances and situations, Musalia, besides 2013, he also supported, in fact, he's the one who came up with the issue about NASA in 2017. And one of the undoing about the political nature of this country, Victor, is by the fact that all pre-elections and post-election agreement and coalitions agreement becomes as secret affairs. That with the law that gives us access to information, the register of political parties become the de facto possessor of these agreements. That Kenyans have never seen the coalition agreement, the contents of this agreement. Way back in 2002, Kibaki-Tosha agreement that was violated, to the ones that we've seen, in 2005, 2007, and even the ones that we saw in 2013 and 2017. So it could be very difficult for us as citizens and pundits to find out that what was the contents of these agreements that all these political party bigwigs are always up and down saying this was violated. This weekend, Ayub Savula mentioned that, the ODM party leader, and I quote him, he's saying that ODM party leader is like a father who got married, to another wife, life and left all the family stranded, you know, at the streets.
Yes.
So for them, they would not want to get into another agreement with that kind of a person. And I quote what he said. So I think it's important as, you know, our political nature would have us have a discussion on how then would we compel the rights of access to information to extend towards the rights of getting information on political agreements and on agreements, you know, for us to know exactly what is this violated, and is a right also as for us to participate in the political party processes.
Okay. Before we continue, Hamisi, let's just take a break, and when you come back, we heard Dr. William Ruto also saying that, you know, what ODM do not include the president's name in your campaigns. And do we all remember what happened in Ukambani? Raila went to Ukambani and announced, nobody saw that, and it raised a lot of eyebrows. Let's talk about that when we come back. That is with me, Hamisi Mboga here, and Daniel Orogo. We'll be discussing more right after the break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Iron Politics is still going on. I'm still with Hamisi Mboga here, joining me via Zoom, and Daniel Orogo with me in studio, all of them political commentators and political analysts. Gentlemen, let's talk about the issue of, you know, Deputy President saying, do not include the president's name in your campaigns. And at the same time, he said that, you know, he helped the president to clinch the seat. And now, it is the time for the hustlers to be represented. That is what he said. Hamisi, let me come back to you and start by asking you this question. Why would you think the deputy president would say that he helped the president to clinch that seat in the last two elections, and now it's now time for the hustlers to take reign of leadership?
I think the deputy president is a very clever politician and is tactful, and he's reminding the system that actually we were together, I supported you, and now it's my support. So these are the intruders who are coming, according to our perception. They are spoiling that strategy because it's going to make him having difficult time to get that post. So he's changing tack. And also, if you look at political stance, you can change tack to divert the attention, because for the last many months, everybody is having the perception that the deputy president is undermining the presidency. So now he's coming to help the president. You people are undermining the president, and they want him to complete this. So it's a change of tack so that you have another strategy. While he's saying that, his people on the ground are really working. So I think he's a very clever politician, and as I said earlier, he's on the ground. So while we're seeing what he's saying, let's also see what he's doing, because that strategy may work if it is not interfered with. So why should he defend the president and he's on the other side fighting the president in the perception of politicians? So this is a change of tack, and it's for a clever politician to do that. And every politician has to change. You can't go on using the same strategy if it's not moving faster and it's not moving according to adding value to you. So he's changing tack, but let's see after some time, what is he going to say again? Now his strategy for the last many months, for a long time, the deputy president was all the time attacking Raila.
Yes.
And then lately, Kalonzo and the team. And then suddenly he changed to attack in our eyes Uhuru, when you go to his bedroom, you are attacking him. Now he's changing tact again. I think he's a very clever man.
Okay. Thank you, Hamisi. Orogo, what's the stand on that?
Well, I think allow me to take a detour, and I don't think that is being clever. Well, if we have to think that is cleverness, I think that is a cleverness that cost someone a lot of political mileage. Like Hamisi said, that a candidate's campaign cannot be pegged on attacks. Trying to remind people that you are the sole reason that made them to be in the political position they are. This is the case that had happened between him and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. When he said that he helped me to become the Prime Minister, he's repeated the same assertions, telling His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta that he's also the one who made him, to become the and if you can think about it, Victor, this was one of the genesis of the fallout between the two.
Yes.
This was one of the statements that can be attributed to the fallout between the two. The claim that William Ruto is the sole reason, that without him, he couldn't be. And, his lieutenants has gone ahead to affirm that assertion in public domain. And I think that really works against him, because if he's listening, I think let's caution him about this. One, it dents your image because, it puts you to a position of not being reliable. And one, it shows that you're always a hopper, trying to help people, but then you yourself cannot be in a position to help yourself. Well, I know the strategy is to, make people think that, he's always in a winning camp everywhere he goes. But also it works, it provides a counter narrative on you, because it doesn't sit well for you. Victor, there is also something that happened over weekend that, will ilk the eyes of political commentators. And Dr. William Ruto made his way to Uganda. And meet President Museveni. And I think this must also be put into context. One, as a political analyst, I would analyze that situation in two ways. That when it comes to foreign diplomacy, it bequeaths the government structures to organize for a presidency or anybody within the government to meet another head of state. And therefore, it is my belief that William Ruto, his visit was sanctioned by the head of state, or was sanctioned by the government, because he was meeting the head of state. Dr. William Ruto is part and parcel of the presidency still. And therefore, when he goes to represent and meet another presidency, that visit is sanctioned by the government through the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We also be alive to the fact that there had been some semblance of fallout between the central government of Kenya, Nairobi, and Entebbe on very critical discussions. One is probably on the infrastructure, and secondly, I think, is on the border disputes on the Migingo issue. So I, as a commentator, looking keenly into this, I would ask myself, how would such a visit happen in the backdrop of a fallout between the president and the deputy? Was it a state visit, or is it a personal? And if it was a personal visit, then it raised a lot of eyebrows. Because we know very well, Victor, that our neighboring country, there is a sliding democracy. There is an infringement of people's right, and there is an internal interference in the Kenyans' internal diplomacy by the neighboring state. So when a deputy president have a conversation with a person of this nature, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. It's not your opinion. This is my opinion. That it raises a lot of eyebrows, and all analysts would begin to look at the conversation at the state at which such a visit was taking place. And I think it's also important that the leaders begin to question, and those who are getting into a discussion about the future of Kenya in 2022 must begin to look that interrogation.
Okay. This is what happened over the weekend, and of course, Hamisi, with that statement from the deputy president, is it something that he's the hustler representative, so to speak, and now it is time for him to be represented the way Daniel has said? It might not work, good for him, and either way, this is politics, and we might just have to wait a little longer to see what happened. Hamisi, I want to bring in this headline on the front page of the Daily Nation, and we talked about this here again, Daniel. The secrets of ODM and Jubilee Power deal.
Yes.
We talked about it, and I think Hamisi can also remember, I think was it last week or last week, but one, and it happens to say that it's first among equals. The parties of President Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga want to be designated as senior partners in the proposed broad-based coalition with other political outfits, Wiper, ANC, Ford Kenya and KANU joining through either of them. Now, the motivation for this move is to narrow the power sharing bargaining to only the two sides. We discussed this again here sometimes, in the past.
Yes.
Hamisi, let me start with you. Now we have got ODM and Jubilee in the process of making a power deal. What do you foresee from this headline? Hamisi.
I see, before I come to this, I wanted to have a point in terms of the visit to
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
My perception is, I think it was a private visit, because if it is the government to government, we would have known and seen the preparation here, the reception, our ambassador across the board. But I think this was a private visit, so let's look at it from that angle. What was discussed, the rumors have it that they were discussing business, so let's leave it at that. But if you come to these formations, and I can see a repeat of 2002, the formations can take shape immediately if you have, leadership is about strength, it's about a personality. When Mheshimiwa Raila is coming to the city for a meeting, you will feel it, So people gauge you because of the perception first which was created and the number of people following you. So I think if you take Jubilee, if you take ODM, look at the background of their numbers, look at the background of their strength, they can make a change. So they are saying, here we are ready to join, but can you other people join us so that we achieve a particular fixed goal? So I think it's an advantage if in Kenya, and I can see now and in the future, no single party will make it to the presidency if they don't work with others. And this is good for democracy. In some other democracies, in fact, in the middle of the term, people change parties and you see the government changes, because that is the benefit of democracy, and not having somebody to push others on the ground without a say. There is an element of formation of a very strong team to be able to emulate the 202 wave, and it can be a wave if what we have just said, or what we said the other time, two strong parties and they are very strong, then you will see the wave in the country, and the strongest candidate will win. So I can see if the ODM and Jubilee, part of Jubilee that is aligned with the president, are talking, that's a strong position. Whatever formations they will have, is it forming one party, coalition, or is it understanding, or what we should do, and we should inform the others after the formation. What next? Because when you go to elections and nomination, if we are together, two parties, and they are in one region, the candidates, are they going to compete? Because if they do, we will see the repeat of what we saw earlier. So there's so many intricacies that must be discussed during the formation. Do you allow Jubilee not to have somebody in Nyanza because ODM is there, or do you not allow ODM to have a candidate in Ruiru because Jubilee is there? Those are some of the issues that will come out to make it. Because if you make a mistake, the other group adversaries, they'll come and take it over.
Exactly. Hamisi, briefly, let me ask you. So, what will be the fate of the parties that were collapsed to join to form the Jubilee coalition? Will they move to be part of that coalition? That agreement between ODM and Jubilee.
There are two angles. One.
Before I talk about those parties that formed Jubilee before, now that Wiper. Right now, that Wiper is having understanding with Jubilee, and Kanu understanding with Jubilee. So we already see some formations in this system. Are they there? And the collapsed parties, when they were forming Jubilee, are gone. I think the way we see it is, if you say Jubilee, it is Jubilee plus all those other parties. So they will split themselves. One group will go to Uhuru camp and the other group will go to William camp. But obviously, I'm asking this question. Is Kanu in that ODM Jubilee plan? Is Wiper is there, or is it going to be there? And those are some of the serious questions, because people would like to know, especially the supporters of these other parties. They want to know what will happen if these two join. What will be our stake? Remember the MP for, I think, Mavoko. It's very critical. They want to know. We can't just join without knowing what our seat, our angle of the seat is. So I think there are so many questions that these teams that are coalescing must work out, so that the people outside their circle see, because the supporters are critical in winning any game. So you have to convince them. Okay, the big people have decided this is it. How about the people on the ground who do the work?
Yes. All right.
We also have some small stakes.
Okay. Thank you. It's a challenge, and it's just the crafters and the whole the legal brains behind this coalition, I hope, are working towards making it work. This is a headline I have to repeat again. We predicted this one sometimes last week or last week, but one, and it's now here. Does this make you happy?
The power deal between
yes.
No, but yes, because one is simply because if you talk about the secrets of ODM and Jubilee,
because from that statement, it's the only two political parties, the two big wigs is Jubilee and ODM.
Besides that, we just concluded a statement here and said, when a political space is opened for all political players to play, there should no longer be secrets in some of coalition agreement, because at the end of the day, parties are perceived to be a broad-based political institutions, and we envision a situation where political parties are owned by members who must be made aware and participate on these deals, like the ones that are now being termed secret. But also unfortunate in the sense that when you look at the register of political parties, we are having almost 82 political parties that are registered, that are just registered. When you talk about them being active, that is another question. In the crafting of winning alliance again, and it's good that we are predicting it again here, any formation of formula of winning an alliance cannot be won by two political parties.
It has to be a coalition of many parties.
It has to be a coalition of many political parties. And this is what I'm going to advise these two political parties again, that in the imagination, in the formation, or in the crafting of these alliances, let that be a broad-based. Let it be as inclusion as possible. Let it be as diverse as is possible, because one, it is important to take into consideration that the election that is going to be in 2022, and again I said, there are a number of newly registered voters, young people who are, below 18 years in 2017, for the first time are going to register as voters.
Yeah.
And the dynamic about this is that this generation is a digital generation that do not understand anything to do with democracy in 1992. This is a generation that do not understand all these things that you're saying about independence. They read in books, but they're not really acclimatized. They do not really, these do not really form part of it. But I'm going to tell you that this is a generation that have understood so well the effects of unemployment. It's a generation that have stood so well the effects of hustling. And this is where I'm telling you that one political party formations is driving this agenda into getting the nuts of these voters, because they have mastered what is the need of this generation. And therefore, when you talk about, this is why I'm saying, Victor, when you talk about this kind of headlines, the consumers of these kinds of headlines is some constituency of voters that has been voting ever since, and voted even in 2013 and 2017. But there is a huge constituency of voters that do not understand this language, and it's important to spread and reach out to these people.
What is this kind of headline meant to achieve? Because people have been saying Jubilee is dead and ODM is dead, NASA is dead, and now the two principles of these two political parties are now coming together and say that, what, we are not dead, the parties are not dead.
Yes,
we are forming a coalition. Is this meant to send a signal that, hey, 2022 is fast approaching years, but the same parties that you say that are dead will come up and as a formidable force in the next election?
Definitely, and that is right. And you see, yesterday, not really yesterday, but even the previous week, there was some chat within the corridors of Jubilee Party about rebranding the party.
Yes.
Dealing
the party
colors, the logo, and besides that, what is really important for Jubilee, all political parties, is to look into the party organs. And you see, one of the allegations about the fallout of other UDA outfits that came is simply because there was an allegation that some people within the house and within the party organs, fingers were pointed towards the vice chair, the office of the vice chair, and the office of the Jubilee Party Secretary General. And I think besides just rebranding these party logos and party outfits, I think it's important for, and we said it here again, by the way, that one of the things that kills Jubilee is not having the PG. You understand?
They haven't had
ever. I think they only had it after, when they were preparing for the repeat elections. Which there was someone, it was about a sermon that was given to the party and the direction to follow. So I think it is important that even as Jubilee, specifically as it rebrands, that one look into the party organs and do a lot of restructuring within the party leadership, do a lot of restructuring within the laying down of political, your party internal rules and regulations, including holding an election for the new membership of that party.
All right. Okay.
And that will be tested by Kiamba, by the way.
Yes, which we'll talk about.
Which we'll talk and for ODM shortly.
Yes.
For ODM, I think, again, who are interested in running for political party, and I think for ODM is doing really well. One is the reassurance. And Baba, did this well even in Mombasa. And the party secretary general has been insisting. The mistake that causes ODM for 3 constituencies that they have lost is by, forcing party candidates on people.
Exactly.
If ODM would work on a formula and receive, party candidates that the ground is giving them, that electors are giving them, then I think the party will gain a lot of grounding.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, Hamisi, there's this particular, the coalition between Jubilee and ODM. And we all know that President Kenyatta's tenure is coming to an end in the next 13 or so months. But then that coalition between Jubilee and ODM is being worked out so that they have got that broad-based kind of, negotiating level playing field come next year. Now, where is President Kenyatta's position in the next election?
This is interesting. And
We're looking at it. Those of us who are observing politics and also looking at the political science.
Yes.
Is you are not over until you are over. You're not completely out until you are out.
Yes.
And this succession is not only a matter of principle, it's a matter of the survival of individuals and parties. So Jubilee is saying they may not have a candidate for the presidency, but does it mean that they are all gone? Is it dead? So they are playing, they are strategizing for a stake within the next government. If you remember, if you had the deputy chairman of the party, he said, we will be in the next government. If you hear some of the Jubilee people say, we shall be in the next government. That means quite a lot. That reads quite a lot. So people cannot just leave because the presidency or the candidate is out. They want to have a stake. Maybe we don't know what role they will play. The current president is not the candidate in 2022, but he's in Kenya. He's living in Kenya. He has a political following. He has a stake. He has a team. You can't leave them out in any fashion for the next government. So they are strategizing how they will play their game, what stake will remain after Uhuru is gone, and who will be. And then the other thing is, at the moment the big person moves, they'll be struggling for the position. In Central, we are seeing it. After Raila, we shall see. Now you see quiet, but after Raila, somebody will come up to say, let me lead. And that is where the politics really comes. So I see a movement of Jubilee working on a strategy that they are not left out completely. If they were still with Mheshimiwa William Ruto, they would be assured. You can see, but half of them are not sure that they will be assured of some stake and some position. If you remember 2017, some of the strong candidates in Central Province did not win. Why? Because they were not in the team of Dr. William Ruto. So people are looking for those intricacies. The president will not be there, Uhuru will not be there, but where shall I be? And those who are out would like to come back. Those who are in would like to hang on. It's really serious matter. To some people, it's a matter of life and death. You see our politics. You can see the skirmishes that were there in Kiambaa yesterday or the day before yesterday. These are signs that the 2022 campaigns will be hot and will be not on issues. I can't see issues coming out, but I can see a lot of personalities. I can see a lot of these skirmishes. If you can be able to have a Photoshop and say so made so and so, and they didn't meet. You know, this digital world is very interesting. I want to give you one point my friend has mentioned about the youth. My analysis, every party has youth, and every party has a message for both the youth and the elderly. So when it comes to really the tire meeting the road, every institution will have its youth, and we better have a platform. If you're talking about economic development of the youth, the ODM is having a strategy for the youth. WIPA has a statement for the youth. So it depends on how you sell this message, this economic base. Because I like to say, my friend has said, it is based on economic and empowerment issue. You can say, but how can you show it? And then Uhuru and the other team have an advantage. They have a whole year to demonstrate that actually they can focus on the youth. This is the advantage of having the government on your side. These projects that are coming, they are also mentioning these projects to provide jobs for our people. So the other people must come with a scenario that defeats that one. Otherwise, somebody halfway next year will say, look at the projects that I've done. Look at the people that have been employed. We are addressing the youth also. So it's a very interesting scenario that is coming. And we shall see quite a lot.
We shall see quite a lot. Daniel, let me just bring you in here. Somebody said that the kind of move that is being happening, that we are seeing right now, is deliberate. One, somebody would assume that, not somebody would assume, ODM leader Raila Odinga has numbers. Jubilee, as a coalition as well, will also come with the numbers. Should Deputy President William Ruto be afraid of that?
I think, well, the tyranny of numbers has been touted by, Mutahi Ngunyi as one of the critical cog.
And could this be the reason why the two parties are coming together?
Yeah, because some time ago we talked about the importance of every political player bringing on numbers on board and becoming a bargaining tool, because numbers matter in politics. It's about voting. And numbers and resources are very critical in politics. But let's look at it this way. If the reason as to why numbers are needed is simply because, as currently constituted, as currently mentioned in our constitution, a National Assembly plays a very critical role in terms of making decisions. And decisions are based on voting. And therefore it bequeaths a governing party to have strength in numbers in both houses, including even the county assemblies. If you look at the last aggregates within the numbers, Jubilee as a party was leading in numbers in all the houses to the MCAs, followed by ODM as a party, not as NASA, ODM as a party, and then Wiper and ANC and the rest. So, like I said, it's critical that the discussion, I think the basis, the bedrock of discussion of a coalition agreement between Jubilee and ODM, one of the critical things is to marshal numbers. And
that would be, assume, the numbers I'm talking about here is ODM, leader Raila Odinga got 7-point-something million votes in the last election, and Uhuru Kenyatta in the last election got, the president, some around 8-point-something million. And these numbers have not somehow tilted, not so much.
Well, I think they have. I think for Uhuru Kenyatta, because it was, Jubilee party was, there are other parties that were folded. You remember around 12 that were folded to form Jubilee as a party.
Alliance.
So the assumption is that the numbers that critically came in for Jubilee was numbers that were marshaled by all these political parties, URP included. But now you have seen the proponents of URP drifted away, and also were joined by sections of Central Kenya, some of the Central Kenya, Mount Kenya, adherents, and that significantly, we can assume that significantly tilted the numbers. So we can add into the negative -2 when it comes to Jubilee party. For ODM, the same, because ODM, I think, could be minimal. One of the things that I said is that the NASA coalition were very clever in terms of their discussion, in that they didn't require the political parties to unfold and form a party, but they had a coalition agreement. In that sense, therefore, it means that ODM remains, and it's able to independently marshaled itself being a member of NASA. The same to Wiper, the same to Ford Kenya, the same to ANC. And therefore, the numbers that ODM got, we would assume that they are not really much tilted, because Honorable Raila Odinga received a support, much of it, based on his candidature. You understand? Being a candidate of ODM, but also being supported on a coalition. So this is what I think, even as we discuss the numbers between Jubilee and ODM, the other factor would be the critical role the imagery of the state brings in, the imagery of Uhuru Kenyatta. As a president. I like what Hamisi said, that he understands that his term ends, the second constitutional term ends, and we said that we cannot really 100% say that he is done, because here we have constitutional amendment processes that gives a broad-based negotiation basis, if at all is going to pass, in that President Kenyatta constitutionally cannot run as a president. But other options are open to him. You understand? Other options are open to him. So I think that is also within the jostling of Jubilee party. And the critical thing, Victor, the straw that will break the camel's back for all of them, for both Ruto and all his handshake partner, is the big question of the running mate.
Thank you. On that note, let's take a break, and when we come, we'll continue this discussion. But of course, let's talk about the Ukambani tour.
Yes.
You know, at some point, Raila Odinga said that he was not going to address.
Yes.
He said, no, that was not his position. He didn't want to speak. And then later on, he spoke, and it was just fine. There's nothing much, really. But it made some politicians quite uneasy during that president's tour in Ukambani.
Yes.
Let's discuss that when we come back after this particular break. Stay around.